Hello, this is OverlordBou, and today I'll be covering one of the highly anticipated ships to release in the Steel event for the Christmas season is the Tier 10 Dutch cruiser, the Prins van Oranje. Now, before we go into the ship stats and everything itself, just a little bit of disclaimer. This ship is more of a gunboat Golden Low. So if you kind of notice how the Golden Low or the Tier 10 Dutch heavy cruiser sits more at islands, this ship is the complete opposite. It's more open water, way more gun focused. So it's a very strong kiting cruiser with hydro, has DFAA, a good heel, a nice DCP. It's a way tankier cruiser compared to the Golden Low because of the fact it has the standard 30-second fire duration and not those 60 fires. So way more survivability than the Golden Low. So you can open water with it a lot more. The gun DPM, it has 12 guns that are 234s. It has amazing HE DPM that do pack a wallop, as you see in today's video. Along with, it doesn't have the best AP, so you're definitely more of HE focused, but the AP can definitely Citadel cruisers at close distance, as well as battleships if they show you enough side with those 234s. So the more lightly armored battleships you'll be able to, but not like the more heavy battleships like a Satsuma. You're not going to be able to Citadel that, unfortunately, unless you're like point blank, like 2 kilometers away. The other thing is that these airstrikes also pack a giant wallop. You do get 2 charges of the airstrikes, and they do have a 15-kilometer range. And with that 15-kilometer range, it does come with a very long airstrike time, about 17 seconds. In comparison, the Golden Low is about 15 to 14 seconds-ish. So it's about 2 or 3 seconds longer than the Golden Lows. So if you're used to playing the Golden Low, you're definitely going to have an easy time aiming these bombs. And these bombs can do up to 50,000 damage onto battleships. The most damage I've ever done, which is comparison, I did 50,000 damage to a Patry, which is why I say it does up to 50,000. It can probably do more, but on average, if you're hitting like a lightly armored or medium armored battleship, you're going to do roughly around 40 to 30,000 damage on the regular. If it's a more heavily armored battleship, probably around 25,000, which is still a lot. And the fact that this thing has 48% fire chance per each of the bombs means you're going to be getting tons of fires and tons of damage. Each bomb has a chance has a potential of doing 8,500 damage, and it also has 47 millimeters of pin on the bombs. 47 millimeters, which is most cruisers and battleship decks are not 47 millimeters. So you'll be pinning a lot with those airstrikes. So with that little disclaimer out of the way about the ship, before we get into stats, let's talk about how you can get this bad boy. So you can get the Prins van Oranje for 36,000 steel. You can use a 15% coupon, which is only for the Steel event, and it's for the first purchase that you make in the Steel event. There are 5 ships that you can get, which I will be doing videos on all of them. It's going to be on the Shinano, the Archerfish, which the video is already out. Of course, the Orange, which is out, today. And the Hoffman, which will be out tomorrow, so you guys can check that out. I already have a video on the Shikuma 2, so you can check that one out. And so you guys are all aware, this ship, the Hoffman and the Shikuma 2, will not be available after the Steel event. They have not said what it'll be for, but it will not be available in the armory after the event. Only the Shinano and the Archerfish will be available for Steel after the event is over. And this event should be going on until mid-January. So even if you guys don't have enough steel right now, you can get steel from the Dockyard event, from the Battle Pass. There's a lot of steel there. Potentially get it from Santa containers or getting it from playing ranked. There's a lot of ways for you to get steel currently. So if you don't have enough, you still have a chance. Also, if you're trying to be smart in how you spend your steel, I'll definitely recommend you spend your steel on the ships that are no longer going to be available, while wait to spend your steel on ships that are going to the armory, like the Shinano and the Archerfish. Also, when those ships go to the armory, you can then use the coal and steel ship coupon to get a discount on the prices of those ships when they enter the actual armory. So that's how you're able to get the ship. Would I recommend this ship? Oh, hell yeah. This thing is so much fun to play, and I'm going to go over the stats and what I think is good or what I think it isn't good. But overall, I think this ship is going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this ship. But let's start talking about some of the stats. So let's talk about what's good. So for the main armament, you get 12 234mm guns that are on 3 quad mounts. I know that the turrets look a little bit weird on them with the gun layout, but overall, I still think they look really good. The ship looks really clean for a Dutch cruiser. It does have the standard cruiser dispersion, which is a big improvement over the Golden Lou. If anyone here has played the Golden Lou, you can just say, or you can just tell how much better this dispersion is in that ship, because, whew, man, the Golden Lou, ugh, God, good luck hitting anything at range with that ship. Now, the reload is slow. It's a 16-second reload, which you can build into, which goes to about 14 seconds. And I'll be showing my build at the end of today's video, so you guys can take a look how to best optimize this ship, or just get an opinion on what you think is the best build for you. You do get those big alpha salvos with those 12 234s, and you do have an 18.1 kilometer range, which somebody be me like, oh, it's a tier 10. That's a really small range. But hear me out. This ship also has a 10.8 kilometer concealment, which is 0.5 kilometers above the Golden Lou. So this ship has big, powerful guns, is way more accurate than the Golden Lou, even though it does have an 18.1 kilometer range, which you can build into if you want to. But with that kind of concealment, you can go dark so easily in this ship. Having that 18.1 kilometer range is good, because you don't want to be too far away, because the shells are a little bit slow. But with that accuracy and how many guns you have, you're going to do so much damage to anything, because the guns do have 39mm HE pen, which can punch through US battleship decks, which are 38mm, along with the British that have 32mm decks, and the French, which are legit made out of 32mm. So good luck with them being able to do anything with this. This ship also has amazing firing angles when you're kiting away, which is gonna make you a formidable cruiser to deal with when you're kiting away. You're gonna have such a good time farming with this ship. You have amazing fire chance, great dispersion, good guns overall, amazing. This is completely the opposite of the Golden Lou, where the guns are really not reliable. This thing is built to have the reliable guns. And I think you guys will definitely see that in today's video as you watch these replays. So the bad part of the guns is that the AP doesn't really perform super well at long distances. And the fact that they're 244s mean you only can overmatch 19mm, which isn't the best, but yeah, that's like the bad part of the guns. You have great HE, but you don't have that great AP, and that's kind of the downside of the guns. Now, at close range, within about 10 kilometers, the AP will do amazing. But outside of 10 kilometers, it's best, outside of like 10 to 12 kilometers, it's best just to use HE. But this is definitely an improvement over the Golden Lou's, 100%. So we talked about the armament. Let's talk about the hull, and then we'll move into talking about the airstrikes. So this ship has the exact same hull as the Golden Lou, but it has 30-second fires instead of the Golden Lou's 60-second fires. And anyone in here knows that those fires on the Golden Lou were just such a freaking pain in the butt. Such a pain. Such a pain. And the fact that you're able to have 30-second fires on this makes it so much better of an open water cruiser that you don't have to be scared of being set on fire as much. you still don't want to be, but you don't have to worry about it being a 60-second fire. Instead, it's going to be a 30-second fire, which is amazing. You also get 25 torpedo reduction protection, which is pretty nice. You also get an average HP pool about 52,000 HP, right around there. You can build into it as well, which I'll be showcasing at the end of the video, which I kind of do, but you don't have to. You can build into more DPM if you like instead. You also get a 40mm icebreaker with a 30mm deck and a 25mm bow with a 40mm side armor. So pretty tanky for a heavy cruiser. Pretty tanky. So overall, I say the hull pretty nice. You just got to be careful not to get citadel from the rear or from the bow, because if ships can like overpin your bow or your aft, they will citadel you, as you've probably seen in this replay already, where I got citadel by the Vermont from the rear or from the previous one. Yeah, you do have to watch out for those citadels because it is extremely painful. So we talked about the guns in the hull. Let's talk about the airstrikes. So the airstrikes, we talked about this earlier. I'm gonna have a replay showcasing the airstrikes from my good friend Full Metal Yankee. You guys can check him out over on Twitch. That's also his name as well. But he gave me a nice replay where I can kind of just showcase the bombs and just how much raw damage they do in a match. Again, they do have 15-kilometer range with 2 charges. 48% fire chance, extremely high, with 8,500 damage per bomb. They do have a cooldown about 160 seconds, but you can build into that to make them quicker. But these bombs, they just pack an absolute wallop. Absolute wallop. You get 50% more alpha damage than the Golden Loop. The main downside is you have 1 less bomb than the Golden Loop because you don't have the legendary mod on it. And instead of it being about 14-second drop, it's about a 17-second drop, which is way harder to aim. But when these bombs hit, when they hit, they smash. And they smash hard. And they are extremely painful when you hit. So good luck to anything that gets hit by this. So moving on from the airstrikes, secondaries, useless. Don't build into them. We're not even going to talk about it. You don't have torpedoes on this ship, so moving on from that. Anti-air. You actually have really decent anti-air on this. You have massive mid-range anti-air, which is the same as the Golden Lose. You also have a DFA as well. So this thing is going to put the fear of God into the aircraft carriers that try to go after you. They will absolutely suffer if they try to push you. So great anti-air. Now, because you have airstrikes for bombs, you get regular depth charges on this thing. Unfortunately, that go off at the stern. So good luck dealing with any submarines is the best way to put it. Good luck, especially with the new Archer fish, which I have a video on, and that thing can go 46 knots. So good luck chasing that down. Your top speed on this ship is 33.5 knots. You can build into it if you'd like. But since you're just using the speed flag, you'd probably go about the max of like 30, I think it's like 36, 37 knots is what it normally is. It has about average maneuverability for the cruiser. It's about normal, so nothing really special, nothing really terrible, just average, so it's nice. Again, with this concealment, you do have a 10.8 kilometer concealment, which is really strong for how big of it, like with how big the guns are over the Golden Loop. It's only 0.5 kilometers off. And if you want a comparison, the Des Moines has a 10.9 kilometer concealment. So it's 1.1 kilometer better concealment than a Des Moines, if you just want to put in a reference for that. So great concealment. Moving on, let's talk about the consumables. You have a standard damage control party, a standard hydro, which is like the 5 kilometer range, with a standard standard DFAA, which is really, really nice. So good anti-air. You also have a standard cruiser heal, which, you know, helps you survive and, you know, not die early in the match. So, you know, that's always nice. So overall, talking about all the stats, let's just say overall, right? The orange is essentially a gun swap variation of the golden blue, right? You have the quad 234 millimeter guns instead of those nasty 283 millimeters, and has a different airstrike. In a sense, you would just say this ship is more of a gun-focused version of the golden blue, like how the Tier 9 Von Spec is the gun-focused version of the John DeWitt. So that's the best way I can compare it there. The orange gives a very unique kiting play style for cruisers, right? This is a very unique play style. You're definitely going to be emphasizing long-range damage farming over the short-range airstriking spam. Interestingly enough, the AP pen on the orange is similar to the golden blue, with only a small loss in the penetration, surprisingly. So you can use the AP in the similar situations to the golden blue, including overmatching ultralight cruisers like Smolensk, Minotaur, Des Moines, and Salem, any cruisers like that. You'll have a great time. And with that improved accuracy, you'll be landing more shots and doing way more damage. Not to mention, you're not going to be on fire 24/7, thank God, with a 30-second fire. So win-win-win situation with this overall. It's amazing. If you want to play the golden blue, like a Hindenburg or a Zal, then this is going to be an easy transition to this ship. You're going to have such a great time. Now, just don't get into people's faces or you're going to be suffering. Stay the mid to long range and focus down slow moving or stationary targets with HE spam. Once they DCP, land that giant bomb on their face and watch as they suffer and burn to death from it. So overall, that is going to be my review of this ship. But before I do that, again, this ship is going to be costing 36,000 steel. You get the steel camo along with it in the bundle, and a 30-day economic bonus for free XP, commander XP, and ship XP. So if you plan on playing this ship a lot, then definitely enjoy this for sure. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'm gonna showcase my build so you guys can take a look at that before you leave today's video. Let's take a look at the armor real quick before we talk about the build. So 25mm bow, 40mm iceberg breaking armor right there, 25mm armor on the rear, and here is the citadel. It does have a turtle back. It's not gonna completely stop you from getting citadeled, but it will definitely help you in the long run there. And this also could be an armored bow. If somebody could let me know in the comments, I would appreciate that information as well. So for the build, the first thing I would do is get the gun feeder. I do like being able to switch between AP and HP really quickly. So me personally, I would take this one. The next skill I would take is going to be focus fire training. This makes it where you get your airdrops 15% faster. So very nice on this ship with the airstrikes. So you get them down to 108 seconds. Very nice for that one. So the next skill I would take is then going to be superintendent. So you get yourself more heals and more hydros and DFAA. After that, I would get the concealment. So you get your concealment down to 10.8 kilometers. This is very important, so you're able to get yourself dark if you need to. So concealment is going to be your best friend in some cases, but this ship is going to be mostly open watering, so you'll be able to be playing this ship at long distance. Next perk is going to be outnumbered. I feel like with this particular ship, that outnumber is really useful. You're not going to be engaging targets that often within your own concealment at 10.8. So having it outnumbered is going to be way more useful than top grade gunner in my opinion. So I would take outnumbered. The next perk I would then take is going to be adrenaline rush, so that you would get the lower health you are, the faster your guns are reloading along as your airstrikes, and you'll have better anti-air as well. After that, you would then take survivability expert to get yourself a little bit of bump in health. And finally, the final perk or the final skill is going to be grease the gears. So this is the 21-point build and how I explained it there. Next is going to be the modules. The modules, I have it as main armament so that my guns don't get knocked out as easily. Next is going to be hydroacoustics. so that the hydro crew surge modification. This makes it where my hydro is 20% longer, so it goes to 120 seconds for the consumable instead of the normal like 80 seconds is what it's normally. Next is going to be adrenaline rush. Oh, sorry, not adrenaline, sorry. My apologies. Aiming systems, so my gun is more accurate. My apologies for that. Next is going to be airstrike modification 1, so that my airstrike aircraft have more HP, and the airstrike armaments reload quicker. This is very important on this ship. If you don't want to build in this, you don't have to. You can build into propulsion or steering gears depending upon your preference. This ship is very gun focused. It has amazing guns. The airstrikes aren't the most important thing on this thing, but they do pack a wallop when they do hit. I was testing this out in a training room, and you can do in one strike onto a patchery 47,000 damage. On a devastation it was like 33,000 ish, so you can do a lot of damage with those bombs when they hit their targets. So I like having that there so I can do that just in case, but these bombs are not the main focus of the ship. It is the guns, those sweet guns. Concealment is the next perk. This doesn't just reduce your detection, it also makes it where enemy fire is 5% less accurate on you when you have this. So it's nice to have yourself a little bit of a buff so they miss you. The final perk I take is reload. Even though the range is 18.1, I really like fighting around that range. So I like having that reload to get the extra reload, so it's down to 14.1 seconds. If you feel like 18 kilometers is too close, you can always take range if you like, but me personally, I like reload. But anyway, that is going to be it for the video. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments down below. And thank y'all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.